If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. Tropic Thunder is a 2008 satirical action comedy film directed by Ben Stiller, who wrote the screenplay with Justin Theroux and Etan Cohen. The film stars Stiller, Jack Black, Robert Downey Jr., Jay Baruchel, and Brandon T. Jackson as a group of prima donna actors making a Vietnam War film. When their frustrated director, Steve Coogan, drops them in the middle of a jungle and dies in an accident, they are forced to rely on their acting skills to survive the real action and danger. Tropic Thunder parodies many prestigious war films, especially those based on the Vietnam War, the Hollywood studio system, and method acting. The ensemble cast includes Nick Nolte, Danny McBride, Matthew McConaughey, Bill Hader, and Tom Cruise. Stiller developed Tropic Thunder's premise during a production of The Empire of the Sun in the spring of 1987, in which he played a small part. Stiller said he wanted to make the film based on actors he knew who became self-important and self-involved, and appeared to believe that they'd been part of a real military unit after taking part in boot camps to prepare for war film roles. Co-writer Justin Theroux revealed that the initial script concept was to have actors go to a mock boot camp and return with post-traumatic stress disorder. The final film was developed to satirize Vietnam War films such as Apocalypse Now, Rambo, Missing in Action, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Hamburger Hill, and The Deer Hunter. Theroux pointed out that viewers had an increased awareness of inner workings for Hollywood due to celebrity websites and Hollywood news sources, so the script was easier to write. Dialogue for the unscripted portions of the storyboard was developed on set by the actors, who improvised. The film was greenlighted in 2006. Filming took place in 2007 on the Hawaiian island of Kauai over 13 weeks and was the largest filming production in the island's history. The extensive marketing campaign included faux websites for the three main characters and their fictional films, a fictional television special, and the selling of an energy drink advertised in the film, namely Booty Sweat. Paramount Pictures and DreamWorks released Tropic Thunder in the United States on August 13, 2008. It received generally positive reviews for its characters, stories, faux trailers, and cast performances, with Downey Jr. being most positively praised for his performance. The film opened top of the American box office and retained the number one position for 3 consecutive weeks, ultimately grossing $195 million worldwide before its release on home media on November 18, 2008. Downey was nominated for an Academy Award, a BAFTA Award, and a Screen Actors Guild Award, while both he and Cruise received nominations for a Golden Globe Award. The film, however, was shrouded in controversy. Disability advocates and others who previewed the film reported that the offensive treatment of individuals with mental disabilities was woven throughout the film's plot. Disability advocates urged people not to see the film, claiming it is demeaning to individuals with mental disabilities and would encourage bullying. Stiller defended the film, stating, "We screened the movie so many times that this didn't come up until very late. In the context of the film, I think it's really clear that we're making fun of actors and actors who try to use serious subjects to win awards." Co-writer Etan Cohen echoed Stiller's rationale. "Some people have taken this making fun of handicapped people, but we're really trying to make fun of actors who use material as fodder for acclaim." He went on to state that the film lampoons actors who portray intellectually disabled or autistic characters, such as Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump, and Sean Penn in I Am Sam. This, of course, was in response to Stiller's portrayal of the character of Simple Jack, a role which in the movie he hoped would win him an award. Instead, he got criticized for. There was also opposition to the amount of times the word retard is used within the film. Another aspect that drew warning before the release of the movie and criticism afterwards was Downey Jr. playing a white Australian actor who dons blackface as part of his method acting of the role of an African American man. He responded by pointing out that this was the case of donning blackface in order to point out how wrong it is. Others have pointed out that the wrongness of the blackface is addressed within the movie itself by an actual African American, and that the climax of the movie pins on Downey Jr. shedding off his method acting. In this way, the movie mocks rather than embraces both blackface and the extreme and ridiculous things method actors sometimes do in their roles. Some have also alleged that the film's characterization and the non-Jewish Tom Cruise's portrayal of a Jewish character, Len Grossman, is anti-Semitic. In addition to his Jewish name, the character of Grossman also references Jewish holiday of Purim. Critics have also referred to the performance as Jewface as early as 2008 and called it vulgar and exploitation. Others, however, including St. Louis Jewish Light, which referenced Tropic Thunder in particular, noted that the Jewface was a riff on the practice of blackface and is nowhere near the same equivalent. Cruise was largely responsible for the final form of Grossman took, including using him as an additional villain, the hairness of the character, and the fat hands. In February 2023, Stiller defended Tropic Thunder on his Twitter account by stating they had no apologies, and he's proud of the work that everyone did on the film. Stiller's defense was a response to a fan of the film who suggested that the former cease apologizing for making the film in light of cancel culture. Some interesting trivia notes. When Stiller first conceived the film, he thought he would only play a smaller role, namely that of Rick Peck, Tug Speedman's agent. Initially, he had the idea of casting Keanu Reeves, but eventually Stiller would take on the lead role and direct. Tom Cruise was very serious about keeping his role secret. Paramount did not release any images of Cruise in the film, and his overall involvement in the movie was supposed to be kept secret. Then pictures of Cruise in costume popped up online. After this, Cruise's lawyers sprung into action. Soon enough, the photos of Cruise as Grossman were removed from the internet. The role of Rick Peck, played in the movie by Matthew McConaughey, was originally written for Owen Wilson, but due to Wilson's attempted suicide in 2007, he unfortunately had to drop out. When the character of Kirk Lazarus was written, he was supposed to be Irish, a definite spoof on Irish actor Daniel Day-Lewis. However, Downey Jr. asked him to be Australian instead. He had done an Australian accent before, and he felt he was more comfortable doing comedy and improvising with an Australian accent. The production needed a last-minute replacement for the actor starring alongside Kirk Lazarus in Satan's Alley, the mock trailer at the start of the film. Tobey Maguire, who was only available for 2 hours, stepped in the last minute. This was fitting as Downey Jr. and Maguire had played characters who have a sexual tryst in the film Wonder Boys. The role of Al Pacino, played in the movie by Brandon T. Jackson, was initially offered to Kevin Hart. Hart turned down the role because he did not want to play a gay character. Steve Coogan, who plays director Damien Cockburn, said he was inspired by the saga of South African director Richard Stanley. Stanley, who had been hired to direct The Island of Dr. Moreau, but was beset by issues on set, including having to deal with the difficulties of Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando on set. He was later fired and replaced by John Frankenheimer, but Stanley secretly returned to the shooting location to spy on the film. Jack Black was initially hesitant to take on the role of Jeff Portnoy, as he also didn't like the idea of dyeing his hair blonde. Eventually, though, Black would take on the role, but unfortunately, he bruised his ribs early in the production and just had to persevere. A mockumentary was created about the making of the film Tropic Thunder. The film, which stars Theroux as the documentarian, is called Reign of Madness and serves as a parody of Hearts of Darkness, the iconic documentary about Apocalypse Now. Now, this is one of those comedies that I can just watch time and time again. It's an absolute classic. It's hilarious, it's bold, and it's just frankly downright different. And I just love the way it takes the mickey out of Hollywood and how it takes itself far too seriously as an industry. With its biting satire, subtle yet crass jokes, and an unforgettable turn from all the cast, this is a film that I'd highly recommend to anyone. One of the standouts that has to be, controversially so, Robert Downey Jr. here, playing Kirk Lazarus, a method-acting Australian actor who goes full method and even wearing blackface to take on the role here of Staff Sergeant Lincoln Osiris. It's a brilliant turn here from Downey Jr., who really shows off his comedic chops. And albeit that the role was somewhat controversial, I think people misunderstood that the film is trying to take a dig now at people doing this sort of thing. But in the same breath though, I can also see why it could be offensive to some. Jack Black is fun here, of course, as the drug-addicted comedian actor who is suffering with withdrawal symptoms. And Ben Stiller himself, who of course also directs the piece beautifully, stars here as Tug Speedman, the over-the-top action star, who really isn't much of an emotional actor. For me though, of course, it is the surprise and strange turn here from Tom Cruise as Len Grossman that really stood out for me. He's the balding, profane, ill-tempered studio executive, and he delivers some of the best lines within the film. His skits are some of my most favourite, and I can watch them time and time again, as Cruise is completely unrecognizable within this role, not just because of the makeup, but it's just such a juxtaposition from his usual type of performances. It's a brilliant cameo turn here from this veteran actor. But even the likes of Nolte, Coogan, Baruchel, and of course McConaughey all turn out fantastic little performances in this really over-the-top, fun, expansive comedy that is a film within a film, and is played for laughs but also makes some very valuable points about the over-the-top antics of the modern filmmaking industry. I also absolutely loved the faux trailers before the film, particularly Satan's Alley, with a wonderful little cameo here from Tobey Maguire. From start to finish, this over-the-top satirical comedy is just absolutely groundbreaking, fascinating, and just hilarious. Yes, I can see why many would be offended by the film, and it is controversial in many ways. But I suppose this is one of those films that, if it offends you, just don't watch it. This humour is targeted at a certain type of audience, and you need to view this in a tongue-in-cheek sort of way. This, at the end of the day, is almost having a dig and making a statement about Hollywood's reliance on controversial themes and subject matter. This is not a film to be taken seriously. This is a parody, and a hilarious one at that. With its brilliant performances here, particularly from Downey Jr., and a standout little cameo here from Tom Cruise, superb direction and creativity here from Ben Stiller and Justin Theroux, Tropic Thunder is just one of those comedies that never seems to date, or could be seen as very dated, depending on which way you choose to view and receive its message. Tropic Thunder gets a 9 out of 10.